Good morning, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Parrish News Network. Give me just a couple seconds to get everything set up here on my phone, and we will take a look at everything that's going on. Alrighty. So, Manatee County has finally released all the upcoming meetings and what their dates are, what they pertain to. You can get this through several different ways. One primarily is the My Manatee website. So, the first meeting that I want to bring you guys' attention to is going to be 1/7 of 25. There's essentially four different meetings that's happening on this date. So, they're going to do legislative priorities, strategic planning, impact fees, and transportation concurrency. Those meetings are huge. Those meetings are the meetings that you guys want to show up to. You want to have the conversations about these developments, the stormwater, things that you guys are passionate about, whether it be what we're talking about right now or other things, Bishop, whatever the case is. That's where you want to show up. That's where you want to come and you want to say something about the future of the board for the next year. Now, there is a bunch of project names on here for the upcoming hearings list. So let me get to the right one. Okay, so the first Pope Ranch meeting is on 2/13 of 25. So February 13th of 25, Pope Ranch residential plan development. So they want to rezone for a GDP 440 dwelling units, fiscal year 24-25. The next upcoming hearing about this development is 3/6 of 25. These first two meetings are going to be the biggest meetings that you guys need to show up to if you are passionate about this development not going through. You have concerns about your property values, the flooding, things like that. The picture that was in the thumbnail of this video, if you take a look at that, that was a conceptual drawing when they did the Zoom meeting. The developer is Neil Communities. The thing that I want to express to you guys is this. Okay, I have talked to essentially Pat Neal's right-hand man when it comes to the Neal development coming in to Pope Ranch. How many homes are they wanting to outback behind us? So they're trying to get zoned up to 440 homes. That's what they're trying to do. So I've talked with essentially Pat Neal's right-hand man. This was at the last land use meeting that I was at, which was the first one that I've ever been to for Manatee County. Um, she is a very nice lady. I will give her that. I don't have anything bad to say about her other than she works for a developer. And I want to make this clear to everybody. I am not anti-developer. That is not what I'm trying to go for here, and I don't think that's what any of the rest of us are trying to say. The thing that I'm trying to get everybody to understand is this development has to slow down before we can get a accurate handle of everything that went on this past year, because this flooding that happened in August has happened before. It's going to happen again. But my caveat is to that, it has never been this bad. This flooding issue is a big issue that a lot of people don't want to talk about anymore. And I understand, guys. I honestly do. I really understand that you're tired of hearing us say the same flipping thing, talking about flooding and talking about the roads and talking about development. I understand. But I want to pitch it to you like this. Y'all are going to sit here And y'all are going to say, well, I don't want to talk about that anymore until it happens next year. And the problem is not, it's the same problem. Y'all are just bringing it to the forefront again next year when we have these bad rains or we have another bad hurricane season, and then everybody cares because there's water in their homes again. Be the change now. That's what I'm trying to get, into everybody's minds. I've talked with multiple people, guys, that, they said, look, I've been doing this exact same thing for 12 years, 20 years here in Manatee County, and I haven't gotten any farther than what you've gotten. There is a change that is going to happen in Manatee County. The first change that we're seeing here is that we have taken a board from a steady 7-0 vote, 7 in favor, 0 opposed, to at least a 3-4 vote. So 3 opposed, 4 in favor. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, and this is what I've said to multiple commissioners at this point, is there's going to come a time when that vote is going to be very outstacked in your favor. Right now, it's in your favor. So the question is, excuse me, are you going to be the change now, or are you going to get voted out and somebody else be the change later? I've talked with everybody that I need to talk to on the Board of County Commissioners. They're very aware of the issues that are going on. They're very aware of how much my knowledge base is, what I'm talking about, the things that we're trying to get solved in Manatee County District 1. But see, this is the thing. I've talked with all the commissioners except for McCann and Tao Sadiq. Those are the only 2 commissioners that I have not talked to. The other ones, Van Ostenbridge and Turner, I knew they were leaving. I didn't even try and talk with them because there was no point. They were not getting reelected. That was pretty evident. Okay, so I have talked with the chair. I've talked with the vice chair. The county is hydrology infrastructure. Don't raise property values because it undermines the argument. Yep. Yeah, that's a good, that is a good point as well. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But I've talked with the county and I've told them, crap, I lost my thought now. I've talked with the county and I've explained everything, and I said, look, you have multiple issues that you're dealing with. The major issue is Manatee County, well before this board, had an issue where they do not have any maintenance easements for any natural systems inside of Manatee County, as far as I'm aware, especially for Gamble Creek. I know that was 100% verified. They do not have a maintenance easement with any homeowners or any private property owners, like the people that own Salt Meadows, the people that own Canoe Creek, the people, all of this. So before Canoe Creek was there, they had access to Gamble Creek because it was open property. Now that Canoe Creek owns both that flood pond to the left and they own the property to the right, Manatee County has no access supposedly to Gamble Creek. So they cannot maintain it because they don't have a maintenance easement. The other thing is that their thing is well, there's no blockage according to them, and B, there is a bunch of hurdles that they're trying to overcome. They say it's a natural system. Swift Mud doesn't want them to hardly do anything. They can only touch what's in the natural flow, and they have a select set of parameters that they can do anything with Gamble Creek. Okay, I'm trying to get a hold of one particular individual at Manatee County to actually get some answers. It is I want to say it's an engineer with Manatee County, to try and figure out what and all the issues are. But that is also a really big reason why we need to show up to that meeting on the 7th, is because that is the meeting where we start systematically taking down these issues. That's why we need to go to these meetings and we need to keep going up there. But you guys need to try and schedule private meetings with these commissioners if you are very adamant about these issues. If you guys flooded, if you almost flooded, if it was around you and it affected you in any way, this problem is only going to get worse. Okay. The other thing is, like Kathleen said here in the comments, um, there is a problem as well on the county side with outdated hydrology reports. There has not been a hydraulic study done in Manatee County for well over at least 20 years. I know the stormwater manual that they're working off of is 40 years old. The last stormwater report that they did was back in 2018. Okay, so they're working on old information. They are not working with current information whatsoever. I had a meeting with somebody yesterday, and I'm going to be vague on who they are because they're a really good source. They've been in the area for a long time, but I'm going to say it like this. They are a former developer, and there was in this conversation a lot of talks about some projects that they developed, and it is the same thing that we are seeing now. They took a property that was once a farm, they bought it, they had property rights, it was zoned for the time UF3. um they developed it, but at least in that case, they took special consideration for the people around them to make sure that water was retained, water sloped like it was supposed to, and things were functioning properly. In these new communities, like Salt Meadows, take a look at some of my older videos. My older videos will show you the things that are going on with Salt Meadows, where we are having these drainage infrastructure blow out. They're not designed properly. There's defects. There's improper installation of things, so therefore they failed. The other thing is, that I want to stress to people that is a huge thing as well, is just like these commissioners were talking about with the North River Ranch or Palm Grove, because I know a lot of people on Waterline Road are concerned about Palm Grove and things like that. Okay, this is the first meeting for for Pope Ranch. This meeting that we're talking about in January. Okay, that is the first. Let me make sure I'm right, because there's one on 3/6. Sorry, the 2/13 meeting that I talked about earlier. So that meeting is the first meeting for Pope Ranch. That is the very first meeting. That is the meeting. That one and the next one is when Manatee County has the most power to possibly block that development. Now, I'm going to tell you, they're most likely not going to block it. Let's just be honest. We looked at the racetrack the same way. Everybody showed up, calling comments. They had thousands of emails, all that stuff, and they still didn't block that development, even though it was past the urban boundary line and all of those things. The thing that I'm trying to get Manatee County to understand is that these people have already went through enough. They've already suffered enough. They've already spent enough. They've already had to deal with stuff long after all of the water is gone. I can tell you guys for a fact, I am still fishing trash out of the surrounding areas of our property because we didn't expect a flood like that. And things floated away, and we're finding stuff in trees, we're finding stuff, way down on property lines, we're still having to fix fence, stuff like that. So just because the water's gone for you guys and the inconvenience is gone for some people, other people might still be dealing with the after effects of, what's going on and the situation that was caused. The other thing that I've really stressed to Manatee County, because these commissioners, guys, they are not experts, and they play that card very well, that, well, I'm not an expert, I don't know, hydraulics, I don't know this, I don't know that. Most of these people have either a financial background or they have a law background, and that only takes you so far, you know. Like when they're meeting for these developments and stuff, they're meeting for quasi judicial purposes. They're meeting to make sure that this project that is before them, you know, stands up to standards. Is it legal for them to do it? Does it follow the comp plan? There, I still have all kinds of trash in the creek. Yep. And they are looking to see, you know, if there's anything that goes against the land development code, the comp plan, and against state law. If all three of those align, it aligns with the future use of that property, and the commissioners in the surrounding community don't have any problem with it, then it's going to pass. But again, the first couple meetings, specifically the first two meetings, if you get enough outcry and enough people showing up and enough people saying that this is going to take my property value and we're going to have adverse negative effects because of this development going in, and you want answers, then that is going to be the place that you need to show up. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Um, I have talked with the lady that is pretty much right hand man with Pat Neal. This was the point I was getting to earlier, that when I was talking with them, they are the developers of Palm Grove. That is who was there at the time for the Palm Grove development. When I said, "Are you sure this is in District 5? Because I'm pretty sure this is a District 1 issue." And they said I was wrong. It was a clerical error, and I understand it wasn't that super huge of a big deal, but let's make sure that when we put stuff on the agenda's right, is what I was trying to bring up. Um, but she actually said, you know, hey, you know, you actually called out some really good points, and, you know, you're pretty knowledgeable in this and that. We had a probably 15-minute conversation, and they pretty much said, you know, if you guys would like to have another community meeting, like an in-person community meeting about this project, we would be more than happy to set that up and to dispel any, you know, any concerns and things like that. So if that is a need from our local community, I can get in contact with her and I can set that up. I've contacted one neighbor that I had a phone number for that was pretty much, this is right behind them, and I haven't heard anything back. You know, if that is something that the neighbors of 675 in this area really would like, I can set that up. That's not an issue. I just need to know. um and I want to point this out here in the comments as well. Handy said, I still have all kinds of trash in the creek on my property. And that you know, just goes to show you, there's several issues that I have set it up. I'll be there. Alrighty, DRC, if you can send me an email as well, my email is in the description down below. I'd really appreciate it, and thank you for subscribing earlier. Where they don't care, they're going to do whatever they want. We are following code. Yeah. Um the other thing I'm going to say though too, guys, is that it is, I mean, just because I say it's going to pass isn't, it doesn't mean that it's not a lost cause, you know, or anything like that. I mean, there is ways to go about it to get certain things done. Key point in case that I would like people to look at, and I want to show this to you guys as well. I wish I could put it up on the screen, but I got to get a program to do that, and to be honest with you, it's kind of pricey right now. So until I start making some extra cash to pay the $99 a month, that's just out of my budget. But anyway, so there is, on the government tab on My Manatee, there is things called GIS interactive maps. These maps are a vital tool for you guys to know about any upcoming development. If you are wondering what wetlands go through your area, if you're wondering what water bodies, if they're impacted or not, are going through your area, I'm going to try and screen record and make a video for you guys after this video. I've got to run to the feed store about 9:30 or so. So I'm going to try and wrap this up here pretty quick. Excuse me. It's this morning breakfast. Anyway, so that way I can kind of walk you guys through some of the tabs that I pay attention to, but that is a vital tool that Manatee County gives you for free. It is public record, public access of any and all planned, like upcoming projects, if they have a date for a hearing yet, if they've been approved, what stage they're in. All of these things, dude, are so freaking nice to have at your fingertips to understand how a property is going to impact what. I understand that some people can look at a map like me and we can say, okay, well, this wetland comes through here and this tributary comes through here and they're going to have to do this and this and that. That's my background. Maybe other people don't necessarily know that, or haven't dug into it as deep as I have. um and that's understandable, and that's kind of why I want to point these out to you, because they're a great aerial tool for you guys to look at this map in large scale. It shows all of Manatee County, and the two that you want to look at is watersheds, and it'll say in there what each one of them does. One will say like watersheds, water bodies, wetlands, all that sort of stuff. And then there's another one, it's under the land development tab, that'll show new projects, developments. It'll show you pretty much everything that you want to know: parks, preserves, stuff like that. All that stuff's in there. And that also brings me to my next point, which I have not looked for it in here yet, but I can really quick. This Palmetto Bluff is farther down the road than. Okay, these are all the board meetings. Airport Commerce, Parrish. Oh, interesting. I just learned something new. Let me look in here and see if Palmetto Bluff's in here yet. I don't believe it is. I don't think it's far enough in the process yet. Crosswind Ranch, Cross Creek. Salt Meadows Phase 2B is in here, but it does not have a hearing date yet. Yeah, Del Webb, Sunchase. All of these do not have any hearing date yet, so there's no telling when these are going to be on the docket. But I will tell you this: so there is 256 items on this list right now total, and I believe that includes some spaces for the hearing dates. Let me go back and look. Yeah, some of those are just the hearing dates that come up in the later months, like the regular meetings and stuff like that. So you have to kind of dig through there and find out what's going on. Again, I would highly recommend that you guys take the time to go through this list, find out the developments that are going around you on the GIS maps, and then you can go through this list and find when the hearing dates are. They should be sending out updates to this list as well. This is not, if it doesn't have a date, it will have a date shortly, because that's just kind of how they work. But um the the other thing that I was saying as well, with that person that I talked to, they were a really good wealth of knowledge, and that's the kind of thing that I think a lot of people lack, especially nowadays, is that people have a hard time with talking to other people and articulating what they're trying to get out of the conversation. And I seem to have a pretty good way of doing that with people. Not that I'm trying to steer them in a particular direction or anything, but um, I'm pretty good at more or less saying what I mean and getting that point across that, I understand that there's all of these challenges, but let's take a look at one of them and work from there. Um, they pointed me in the right direction on a couple people to talk to and a couple different things to maybe take a look at. So I'm trying to get a hold of those people. Um, one of them is a very prominent figure in Manatee County. Has been for several years, and I'm really hoping that he reaches out. I've got some voicemails out there, and I've got some people that are very close contact with that person. So I'm hoping that bears some fruit, because that person right there that I'm talking about, I don't want to give away who it is yet, but um, he has been in the game for several years, and he knows all the major players. He knows all the ag land, and stuff like that. So I really hope that I can get him to sit down and have a talk. The other person, unfortunately, he was a major player for a long time, especially here on 675, but he has dementia now. So there's really no talking to him, unfortunately. A lot of the people that you see up and down 675 with the parameters that was there at the time, he was pretty much the main one to, sell them their place. And the other people, they were more considered like flag lots. So, those are kind of the lucky ones. The the thing that I would just, I guess, end all to be all to this little video here is those 4 dates right there that I told you guys about. Those 4 dates are probably going to be the most important ones. The one in February, the one in March, and the one in January. Those dates right there, those are going to be your major ones to show up for. And I'm hoping that in having these conversations with people, if we keep up enough momentum, we can actually make a change for the rest of the community. The other thing that I'm going to publicly put out there and say as well, I have a documentary that I'm doing myself. I stand to make no money off of it or anything like that. It's not produced by some big, major film company or anything like that. It is okay. Sorry, somebody messaged me on Facebook. The other thing is that um that documentary is not published by anybody major or anything like that. It is just done by me, PNN Films, public Parrish News Network. So I'm trying to get people to sit down and be on camera about that. These are the things that I'm looking for that documentary. I'm looking for people that went through floods in August. That's kind of when I'm focusing, was in August, because August was the worst. um Anna Maria Island, I'm going to focus on a little bit, but they they're in a different situation than a lot of us inland. That would probably be something that somebody would cover in like a separate documentary. Um, it's going to be called A Perfect Storm, and that term I've heard used by multiple people at multiple different times, including commissioners and things. I think it fits very well. So that's what I'm going to use. A flood story of 24, a perfect storm. Um, I think it's gonna be good. I've got a lot of aerial footage and stuff of different angles and things like that. And if you guys know of anybody, or you see any videos on Facebook and things, if you could send them to me. I've been trying to get in contact with people to, acquire their footage and stuff and things like that. I've got some people already lined up to take some interviews as well. So, um, if you guys have a story to tell and things like that, that's where I would like this kind of channel to thrive and be a place that people can, share what they're passionate about in Manatee County, and be a place for, the people to have a voice. Because ultimately, a lot of these news agencies and stuff, they're not interested in coming back and talking to us until next flood season. That's just point blank period. I can tell you I've contacted 15 different news agencies, ranging from national all the way down to local, and they do not have any interest in anything that we're talking about here in Manatee County. So if you guys can get the word out, I'd really appreciate it. I am going to post those lists. I'm going to post them in a post on my YouTube channel here, so you guys will be able to come back at them and look at them. They're just going to be screen stills of the meeting dates and with a big circle around them. Those are going to be the ones that you guys, again, we got to show up to them. This is the other thing I'm going to say too. Okay. I'm just like everybody else, guys. I work paycheck to paycheck, and there's times where, like, I'm on the struggle bus with the rest of you. Like, I've got to eat soup and crackers for a couple of days until I get paid again. I understand that it might suck to be out of work for a day to come to these commission meetings, but I would highly encourage every one of you to invest yourself and take that day off to come to these meetings, because if I can do it, so can you. I've sacrificed a lot behind the scenes for this stuff, to not make me any money, and I'm not asking for any money, and to not be, successful, though I never really dreamed that I'd get as close to 150 followers as I have. So I definitely appreciate that, and I appreciate every single one of my followers and subscribers on Facebook and YouTube. But if you guys really want to make a change, you're going to have to make some sacrifices, unfortunately. And if if it comes down to it, I understand. If your family really needs that money more than you showing up to a meeting, I ain't got no judgments for you. That's definitely a decision that I've had to make before. I've had to put things off, to in order to feed my family. So I 100% understand that. The other thing that I want to say too is, these meetings, there's going to be a point, I think, kind of like what one of the commissioners said a while back, and it was in a public setting, though I don't remember 100% when it was. I think that the board, especially this year, it was Cruz at that library meeting is when it was. That's when I heard it. So, and that was something else. Cruz is supposedly going to be the board chair this coming year. He said that he thinks that the board is going to take special consideration for the upcoming meetings, talking about people asking for amendment text changes and things like that, and they're going to be less lenient on them and less likely to approve them, stuff like that. I don't exactly know how true that is or not, but we'll see. All you guys can do is just come and show up and try and make a change as much as possible, and you might get a result, you might not, but don't give up. I'm not giving up. I'm still going to the meetings, and I'm still trying, and I'm just asking for you guys to help me out and do the same. The other thing that I'll say as well, I would really like this channel to get up to 500 subscribers. I think that'd be a pretty healthy milestone to kind of grow up to, considering there's over 300,000 people in Manatee County, something like that. So if you guys, please, if you don't mind, like, subscribe, share. The more you guys interact with my videos, the more that they go into the algorithm and suggest them to other people. So I really would appreciate it. Other than that, that's all my e-begging and everything for the day. I really do appreciate you guys' time. So until next time, this is Dalton with Parrish News Network signing off. You guys have a good rest of your day. Me in the stream.